lecturer in primary education. So I was invited here today to talk about routes into teaching. So I will talk about all the different types of teaching as well, even though my specialism is primary. So I will get started. Hopefully, if my slides will decide to move. There we go. So hopefully most of you have been to the university in Worcester. So we are a campus-based university. We have different campuses around the city. The one on the left-hand side of the picture there is the St. John's campus. That is where most of the teaching for the courses to do with teaching happen on our St. John's campus. We have our city campus as well, which is where most of our sort of law type courses are. And then we've got the new medical centre as well, which is the gold building on your left hand side of your screen. And we've got the university arena where the basketball and lots of our PE type courses happen. And then right in the middle at the bottom is the Hive, which is our library building. So you're probably familiar with quite a lot of those if you've been to Worcester. A little note on accommodation. We are probably now on my course, so which is the 3-year primary teaching course, we are probably on half and half of students that are commuting to campus and those that are living on campus. It used to be a lot more students were living on campus, but since perhaps COVID, it has been edging more towards those students that are commuting, and obviously the cost of living as well. But if you do decide to want to stay at university, we've got some really great accommodation on site, so it's not far to get up in the morning and get to your lectures for 9:15. They all start, and I believe you can get out of bed at 9 o'clock and still be in the lectures for 9:15 in the morning. So we have over 1,000 rooms on our campus. We have got rooms with ensuite accommodation. We have rooms with shared bathrooms. There's a whole range of things. First years are guaranteed to get accommodation on our campus, which is great. It's a lovely, safe environment, and all bills and your gym membership are included in those. And I really recommend that you come and have a look around the university on one of our open days, which is coming up at the end of November. So I will share the date with you and the details about that afterwards. So most people live in halls in the first year. So here's some pictures that a student has shared with me of their lovely halls all set up there for them. And then moving on into second and third year, this student has kindly again shared their pictures of their room for me. We've got a really good accommodation team at the university, and they help students source accommodation. Other things to do on campus, there are lots of other things to do, lots of societies you can belong to. There's one of the gyms. We've got gyms on our city campus as well as down at the arena and on the St. John's campus. We've got lots of places to go and eat and have coffees on campus. And then, of course, Worcester has got lots of things that you can be doing as well. So I believe it's a very vibrant nightlife, so I'm told. We also have excellent employability rates. So 96.5% of our students, this is data from 2023, we haven't got the most recent data yet, are going into employment, which is really, really great. And we were ranked first for the quality education in 2024 as well. So this is the university as a whole. And there's just some of the courses, some of the pictures that we offer. So concentrating now on to teaching. So I've probably not included all types of teaching here, but I've sort of put the main ones down. So you might be interested in teaching, but you're not sure which angle yet to take. So you might be interested in teaching very littlies, between 0 and 3 years old. So we offer an early years teaching qualification. We also offer this as an apprenticeship as well, a degree apprenticeship. So that might be something that you would like to look into. We also offer an early childhood course. So if you're perhaps interested in working with younger children, but you're not sure whether you want to be a teacher or not yet, you could go and do this course first of all, and then you could top it up to become a teacher afterwards, if that's what you decided to do. We have the route which I teach on, which is the primary teaching. So that qualifies you from 3 to 11 years old. You can specialise in this as well into age groups. You also specialise in a subject in your final year. So it's a 3-year degree course, and I will talk more detail about that in a moment. You can also teach in middle schools. Now, to qualify to teach in a middle school, your primary teaching certificate that you would get would allow you to teach the primary years. And if you wanted to be a secondary teacher, then your secondary qualification would allow you to teach in Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4. But we know lots of students that have gone to teach in middle schools and of their primary teaching qualification has been absolutely fine and useful there as well. So we have straight secondary teaching, so 11 to 16-year-olds. We have further education, so it's that position you're in at the moment possibly, so 16 to 18-year-olds. Special education needs. So we have got various courses which specialise in SEND, as we shorten it. So that might be of interest to you. And then higher education. So you can also do what I'm doing as well. You can also teach people who are 18 years and older. So there's a real variety. And then we've got all sorts of things, like we've got online tutoring as well that people do. So there is other types of teaching abroad as well. It's massive. So these are just perhaps some of the main ones, and all of which we offer at the University of Worcester. Okay, so it's worth looking into those. Our teacher training department, so this is our primary and our secondary, was awarded Outstanding Provider in 2023, and we've since had an update as well in 2024 and remained in that rank of outstanding. So we are really pleased by that. And the top point says it all, really. It says the University of Worcester's education of future primary and secondary teachers have been given the highest possible grade of outstanding. So it really does show that all of our courses are producing trainee teachers, qualified teachers who are going to be going on to teach the best in schools. So we're really proud of that one. So focusing a little bit on routes into teaching. So the one on the left-hand side, the undergraduate degree, okay, 3 years, and the QTS bit at the end of it is the qualified teacher status. Now, there are lots of courses that you will see primary education in the title, but if you want to qualify as a teacher, make sure you apply to a course with QTS. So this applies to every university. So it's the national recognised, in fact, worldwide recognised qualification. So QTS, qualified teacher status. So an undergraduate degree of any kind is 3 years. So after that 3 years with us, you would qualify as a primary school teacher and you would be able to get employed straight away. On the right-hand side of the screen, we've got PGCE. So this course is for people that perhaps have done a more generic degree. So maybe they've done just an education degree or a psychology degree, or maybe a subject-based degree such as geography or maths, for instance. And then they may decide, actually, I'd like to teach that subject or a similar subject. So you can get your qualified teacher status by doing what's called a PGCE. And this is a year-long course, and you do this for primary education and for secondary education as well. So we offer all of the subjects for secondary education. So if you wanted to be a languages teacher or a psychology teacher or a religious education teacher, we offer those as well. The primary course covers all subjects. So as a primary teacher, you need to be able to teach everything. So, but don't panic. Don't think, oh, I don't know much about music. We give you enough information so that you can teach that at primary level. So this is the primary course, just a little overview of that. Obviously split into the 3 years. The top rectangles, the orange one first of all, those are the modules that we look at in year 1, the green ones in the middle, year 2, and the light blue in year 3. The rectangles at the bottom are the placements, because our course obviously qualifies you as a teacher. You also need to have your practice in schools. And this is where we put all of the theory that you've been taught in your modules into practice in schools. So in your first year, you do a 2-week block placement, and it's actually starting now at the beginning of December, and then a 6-week block placement then, which is at Easter time. And then it builds up gradually then in year 2, and then gradually bit more in year 3. And then at the end of year 3, it's at that point ready then to go and teach full time in a school. Our modules build up gradually over the 3 years. So there's similar themes running all the way through, but obviously the knowledge is expanded as we go through on those. You'll notice at the top, it says that we have early years 3 to 7 or later years 5 to 11. So you can choose if you just purely wanted to focus on children aged 3 to 7, you could do that. Or if you wanted later years, then you would do 5 to 11. It says 112 UCAS points, and I've got a slide in a moment to show you which sort of talks about that in a little bit more detail. And every teacher training course that you will go on to with qualified teacher status, you will need to have an interview. So we run interviews that are in person or online. So we give people the opportunities if it's too difficult to travel, so they can attend an online one. And those interviews are a way for us to see whether we think you've got the potential to be a teacher. But I won't go into too much of that now. We talk more about that at open days if you're interested. So I mentioned about the UCAS points there. Okay, so we accept a whole range of courses onto our course. We do require you to have a grade C or a 4 at English, Maths and Science. If you don't have those, please don't panic, because we do offer an equivalency. So if you don't have your science, it could be a double award or triple award, a single award, that's fine. Only, you only need 1 4. So let's say you got a 4 in your physics, that's fine. But if you didn't get a 4 or a C, we do an equivalency entrance test, and we supply you with a list of things that you would need to revise, and then you do that. It doesn't give you a GCSE qualification, but it does allow you to start the course. And we expect all of our students to have gained these qualifications before they are allowed on the course. We then look at BTEC, so you can see there how that is calculated. And then we've got diplomas, and we've got A levels, and we've got T levels as well, because we have lots of students who are completing T levels now and coming onto our course. 112 UCAS points is what we roughly, is what we roughly asked for. Now I say roughly because we do have some students who are predicted around 112 points, and then something might happen and they don't quite manage to get those. We say to students, please don't worry about that, because we interview all of our students, we look at your references, and if we feel that you still, we think you can make a good teacher, regardless of the points that you have achieved, the chances are we would probably still take you on the course. So we actually took some students this year who were around about the 80 UCAS points mark. So please don't think I'm not predicted the right number of points. Please still apply, okay? Because the interviews to us are really important. Seeing a person in person rather than just what grades they got, it's very important for teachers. If you would like to look into your grades and how that works a little bit more detail, there's a link there on the bottom left hand corner. So this is just a little bit more detail about year one. So this is again of the degree course, but even if you were to do the PGCE course, so the 1 year course, it would still include the same things. So we need to teach you how to teach all of the subjects, obviously. So we do a little bit of subject knowledge, but we also do what's called pedagogy. So it's teaching you how to teach something. And then we also look at behaviour management. We look at working with children with special education needs, or maybe children with English as an additional language. We look at the theories and the philosophies and the principles that go behind teaching as well. So there's a whole host of things that we cram into our course. Our lectures are very hands-on. Okay, so here's some pictures again a student has put together for me of some of the lectures that they've had. So we use all of the resources and we do lots of the teaching and activities that you would be doing with children in the primary school. So it's really practical and hands-on. So for instance, today there's been a group of students who have gone out pond dipping, but I don't think they found much because it was so cold outside in our little pond that we have. So it's a really great opportunity to see how you would teach some of the subject knowledge to the children in schools. We cover all of the national curriculum subjects, so from RE to art to DT, science, PE, music, etc. We do all of them, as well as obviously English and maths. Placement is a massive part of our course. Obviously, that's what you're training to do. We've got a wonderful placement team who organise your placements for you, and this is the same whether you are on the degree course or the PGCE, and also if you were looking to do our SEND course or our secondary teaching course as well. So we organise all of your placements. We look at where you live. So if you're going to be living on campus, we would organise your placement from where you are on campus. If you're going to be living at home, we'd look at organising your placement for you from home. We have to make sure that you go into at least 2 different schools. For the degree course, we normally manage to get you into 3. For the PGC, it is normally the 2 schools. And that's just to give you a breadth of experience. So we might look at putting you in a large school and then maybe on another placement into a small rural school. And it allows you then to decide what type of school that you would like to teach in. We also make sure that you've got experience of a variety of age groups as well, so that you would be working in Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 if you were on the primary pathway. If you're just on the early years pathway, then you'd obviously just focus on the early years part of school. So come to us and have a look. And I really recommend applying to obviously lots of universities, but go in and have a look at them because it will give you the feel of what it's like at a university. Lots of students say they like our campus because where we do our teaching courses, because it's a small community. Most people there are doing sort of primary or secondary teaching, so lots of people have got things in common. There is plenty of parking available. We've had some new parking put in there now, so it makes it very accessible. We have buses that go up and down into town. I think every 10 minutes. We've got a shop on site, we've got a student union on site, but you really need to come and get the feel of what it's like. Also at our open days, we have a team of students who are on our course that are there for you to talk to. So you can ask them a student's point of view about the course and perhaps about being at university. And then we also have lots of our tutors there as well who would be able to answer any of your course related questions. So we want trainees who are passionate about teaching, confident and reflective, good communicators, intellectual and want to learn as well, got a good standard of spoken and written English, and resilient. You need to be resilient to be a teacher, and aware of the roles of a teacher. So if you are applying to any teaching course, please bear these things in mind. You will need to demonstrate these things in your personal statements and also when you are invited to interview as well. The application process for teaching, okay, so for undergraduate degrees, you apply through your UCAS page that you will get set up. Okay, so that's the same for teaching courses, undergraduate, so the 3-year teaching courses you apply through UCAS. Your school will provide you with lots of support to do this, so please take every advice that you can. Get people to read over your personal statements and your application and make sure it's the best you can. Okay, so we also ask for a reference from someone at school or college, and we do look at these really carefully as well. You need to be patient with any university because obviously we're having lots of people applying to our courses, and it can take a little time for you to receive communications back from us. So a few tips now on writing your personal statement. Why do you want to be a teacher? What has given you the ambition? So there's a little clue there. Maybe you've been inspired by a teacher in the past, or maybe a current teacher has inspired you to go into teaching. Maybe you've got a member of the family who's a teacher, and that's made you want to be a teacher. You need to explain why you've chosen the age group you have. So maybe you've had a bit of experience, you've done a summer camp, or you've been on work experience, or you've got a real passion for a subject such as maths in secondary, and you really want to be able to pass that passion on to other children and students. Think about what are your strengths and also your areas of development. Think about what interests you and what you would like to do more of. Think about some of the realities of being a teacher, and some of the rewards and challenges. And we do speak to you about this in your interview. There is no hiding. Teaching is a hard career to go into, but it's incredibly rewarding. So it's about having that understanding of what school is like on a day-to-day basis from a teacher's point of view. So get talking to as many teachers as you possibly can. Think about the skills and qualities that you have that will make you a suitable teacher. So maybe you're very patient, maybe you are very organised. Those sorts of things are going to be important as a teacher. Think about what else you can offer as well. So do you have any unique selling points? What's going to make your application stand out? And what could you offer a school or a setting? So have you done any volunteering? If you could do some volunteering, that would be good also to put onto your supporting statements. Have you got any additional qualifications such as lifeguarding or a football coach or a netball coach, or you've got your first aid certificate? Anything that would add to your application. Do you currently work, or have you worked in the past? And that doesn't need to be related to teaching at all. That could be working in a supermarket or in a restaurant or cafe. There's still going to be transferable skills from those places of work to teaching. And what are your hobbies and interests? We're really interested in you. We want to see what you can possibly offer a school setting. So if you do have particular interests and hobbies, lots of schools would love you to do after school clubs with the children, or, share your passion for something. So in your personal statement, please do include and tell us a little bit about you. So what should you do now? So attend events at the university. So any universities you're interested in going to, get on their websites and go to some of their events. Get some experience of teaching if you can. You may have this already, but it's really important to have made a rational decision for going into teaching. Do I want to teach early years? Do I want to teach primary? Do I want to teach secondary? Do I want to specialise in special education needs? And the best way to answer those questions is to go get some experience and also talk to teachers. Maybe you know some trainee teachers, talk to them, okay? Find out what it's like. You can also do a lot of reading around education so that you know what's current and what's happening in schools. Sign up to any education blogs or Twitter, or X as it's now called, because they're always very good at showing up-to-date information. Develop your awareness of the early years framework and the national curriculum, because those are the things that you would be teaching when you go into school. So make sure you develop your knowledge of those. Do your very best at your current studies, but like I said before, don't panic if it doesn't quite work out. Okay, there are other opportunities for you, and it might be that you've had a good interview, you've got a strong reference, your personal statement is strong as well, and the chances are you would still be accepted. And apply early. Get your applications in. So we are already interviewing for students who will be joining us next September, so September 26th. We've started interviewing already. So some students know they've got a place based on their grades if they get their predicted grades or thereabout. So please apply nice and early. Okay, so that is it for my my talk. I've got a final slide here with some contact details on. So Sam Waller is the course leader of the undergraduate course. Then there's myself there as the cohort lead, and I'm also lead for recruitment, so you can get in touch with me. And then Dan Hughes is our PGCE course leader for primary, and then Sarah is our secondary PGCE course leader. So I'm more than happy to share these slides with school as well so that you can access them. So I will be quiet and pull the chat up, and if anybody would like to ask any questions, then please pop them in the chat.
Thank you, Karen. That's so very, very helpful and very thorough. I think those students who are online and maybe some parents as well, I'm hoping that you will have had a feast of information to think about for this evening and for making those future plans. We do have a few questions that were pre-asked, but if you have got any, please do put them in the chat, students. One of the questions, Karen, was regarding trying to work out secondary and primary and early years, as you mentioned, how those skills that they have and their interests can be defined really into which level to apply for, because they are entirely different, and we know that by experience. Can you just give a little bit of help and support to a student who's not quite sure between those?
Absolutely. So I would say if you've got a real passion and interest for one or two subjects, then it's probably secondary that you would be best to go into, because you're able there to go into more depth, as you know, subject knowledge wise. And for primary, you need to have that breadth of knowledge across a range of subjects and enjoy a range of subjects as well. So I would say if you want to be being more creative across the subjects, then primary would be the course for you. But like I said in one of the slides, the best thing to do is go and experience the different age groups to help you decide which course it is that you would apply for.
That's great. Now, and in the past, I think pre-pandemic, it was essential to have certain work experience in advance in an educational setting. You mentioned about focusing on skill sets and obviously areas of interest and experience. Is there anything that you could sort of really recommend if students are not able to? We do support students gaining some work experience, so to the best of our ability, we help and support them gain that. But is there anything that you could encourage students to do that might develop some of those skills?
Absolutely. So it's no longer a requirement that students need to have had experience in schools. As you said, it used to be students would only be able to apply to a course if they'd been on some experience in school. So don't worry if you haven't got that, but any type of experience of working with other people, because teaching can be teaching from little ones up to 30-year-olds. So experience of any sort of teaching or coaching, maybe it's through sports coaching, that's really valuable. And also employment as well. So if you work alongside your colleagues, you're going to be learning from them, you're going to be teaching them as well. So for your things in your personal statements, you can pull across skills, transferable skills from lots of different aspects of life that you will be able to relate to teaching.
That's really helpful. Thank you, Karen. And another question about perhaps expanding on different courses related to education rather than just teaching. One of the reasons why we kind of rephrased and retitled our pathway to education and teaching was because education is obviously much broader than just teaching. Could you just give a little bit of an outline to students about alternative courses they might want to look at if they're interested in that particular sector?
Absolutely, yeah, no problem at all. So we do another undergraduate course, which is called Education Studies. So lots of our students that go on our Education Studies course are those that want to work with children, want to work in education, but not necessarily sure they want to be a teacher. So we have students going on from that course that might go on to be education psychologists. They might work in outdoor education, possibly. Um, they might decide that they want to go into education in the prison service, for instance. So there is a whole host of pathways that could take you on. Um, Possibly it could be leading you to going to work abroad in the education system as well, because I know education studies course also looks at teaching in other countries as well. So that's a possibility. You might want to go on and manage a nursery, for instance, or go work in a preschool. So not necessarily teaching, but also still involved in education. We do a double award as well. So you can choose to do a joint honours, which you might choose to do education studies and then maybe psychology alongside that. So maybe some people are interested or going into being an education psychologist. Of course, we have different pathways as well that allow you to teach different age of children. Um, I think that is probably it that I've mentioned most of them, I think.
That's brilliant. Thank you. I think that's just given a flavour of how education as a study can be just as interesting as the teaching element and actually
Absolutely.
can be utilised in different ways. So from a student perspective, I know that from we would always recommend going and looking at these universities, looking at the course content and going speaking to current students to see what kind of careers they might actually be aiming for as well. So I would encourage
Absolutely.
students to look at that. That's really interesting. We haven't got any questions coming through now, but as I
No
say,
problem.
we did have some late ones. Have I missed one?
Yeah, it's
Ah.
chat, you'll see.
Oh, okay. I do apologise. I have got something in the chat. I have. There you go. What would you say is the best course to do for becoming a primary teacher? As there is a number that you can do. So it's a best course
Okay.
for primary
No
education.
problem. So I would say, and of course I'm going to say this because I'm head of year one, but I would say do the 3-year degree course. It's exactly what I did many moons ago. You study for 3 years, you get lots of experience in schools, but it's very gradual. So if you're a little bit nervous and anxious about starting being a teacher, which most people are, it's a very gradual step into the profession. So there's lots of support available from the university when you first go in on your first teaching practice. You're not expected, we don't throw you into a classroom of eager 10-year-olds and ask you to teach fractions or anything like that. It's all very gradual. But by the end of the course, you've developed that confidence and you are ready to go into the teaching profession yourself. So I did that course and that suited me better. And I think for our younger students who are coming straight from school or college, I think that is the best course for you to go into because of the sort of nurturing and gradual effect that we have throughout the course.
That's really helpful. Thank you. And Raf has asked, what do you do if you aren't sure what type of age of teaching you want to go to, which I alluded to, I think, a little earlier, and you may have answered. I really want to teach primary children, but I'm not sure whether the high knowledge I have for certain subjects might benefit children of a higher age. And I can see that point, really. If you've got an interest in a particular subject that you're studying at A level, you may want to go on to teach that at a much higher level. And I can understand that. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Karen.
No, other than going and getting some experience. I mean,
Mm.
YouTube, if you can't get into a school, just go onto YouTube and just Google some examples of teaching, because there is really lots of things out there. We've got a video actually on our website which is about being a primary, I think it's called The Day in the Life of a Primary Teacher. So go and
Right.
have a look at that and just get a feel of what it's like.
That's great, thank you. Is this asked if I want to specialise in reception year 3, which course should I take, because I want to be able to teach all years?
Okay, so if you did the 3 to 7 pathway, that would specialise in the younger years children, so in reception. However, you still would be qualified to teach across the primary school as well. So if you did teach younger years for a few years, maybe once you'd started your career and then decided you want to go teach year 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, you would be qualified to do that as well.
That's great. And Nissy's asked, is a joint honours degree any different to a normal undergraduate? And I know that Faye's actually just putting some answers into that. So perhaps that's answered. A joint honours degree combines 2 subjects in a 50-50 way. It allows you to combine 2 interests. The end degree is still 1 undergraduate degree. So that's great.
Right.
Yeah. If somebody did a joint degree course and wanted
Yeah.
to go into teaching secondary, can
Yeah.
you just outline how that might work?
Yeah, sure. So what the secondary team look for in students that apply there is that the student has either an A level or part of a degree, so it could be a joint honours degree in the subject or at least the area that they would want to teach in. So if it is something like they'd like to go into teach design technology, so DT, if they have done sort of A level engineering, or I don't know, something related to that, then that would be absolutely fine. If you've done a joint honours degree and you wanted to teach psychology, we'd look for you to have done your joint honours in education and a subject related to that as well. But you don't necessarily have to have the exact subject that you want to go on and teach, just in the same field.
That's really helpful. And lastly, what is the best course for special educational needs?
Right, yeah. Then now this is a tricky one, because actually there is probably 2 really good ways to go about it. So you could do straight away, you could go on to a undergraduate degree course, so a 3-year degree course, which specialises in children with special education needs. Now, that isn't a teaching qualification course, so that just gives you a whole breadth of knowledge about working with, supporting, helping develop children with special education needs. You would then need to do, so that would be 3 years, you would then need to do your PGCE to get your qualification to work in special education needs. So there's that way. So that would take you 4 years. If you did the undergraduate degree, so 3 years, so not it's called the primary education with qualified teacher status. You'd be qualified as a primary school teacher, but you would be able to, in your second year, have a placement at a special needs school. So you would get experience of working in an alternative setting. And in your final year, you would be able to specialise in that area by maybe doing some research or your dissertation, so which is your big piece of coursework that you do at the end of every degree. So you could specialise in special education needs then as well.
That's really helpful. And Faye's been really busy putting some links in there, some really useful links for students.
Brilliant.
Some of those that are gov.uk ones, and also some routes into teaching, and yours, of course, at Worcester, Karen, as well. So we would really recommend that students go and visit the universities. There's nothing like it, and gaining some classroom experience if at all possible.
Absolutely.
Karen, that's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you. We will be sending round the recording so that we'll be utilising that with our pathway students who have not been able to attend this evening, and any teachers that would like to show this as well. So thank you very much indeed, Karen.
No problem.
It's been excellent. And to students, we would really encourage you to utilise the pathways information that we provide. Sign up for the pathway if you're not on it. And obviously, Jane will, our work experience coordinator, coordinator will be contacting Year 12s about work experience opportunities in the forthcoming weeks. So that's brilliant. Karen, thank you for extending Worcester University's great expertise and our partnership with yourselves to the talk this evening. Students, we hope you've enjoyed that. We'll ask you for some feedback tomorrow or later this evening. And Karen, we look forward to seeing you on site sometime soon.
Yes, absolutely.
All the very best, everybody.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Louise. Thanks, Faye.
Thank you. All the very best. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.